In our last lesson, we learned how to create the macros, and now this lesson we will learn how to insert buttons to activate the macros at this part of the sheet. We're going to put the buttons there in that open part there. Not adjoined, that's not good. Keep them separate. Good. But before we do that, let's just remind ourselves. When you've created macros, then you should save your file as an XLSM file, save as, you will see here XLSM, which means macro enabled workbook. That of course is made possible when you go down to options and you go to the Trust Center and you look at your Trust Center settings and go to your macro settings, enable VBA macros, plus you should trust access to the VBA project object model. You've got to make this all possible. All right. Also, if we go back here to the Trust Center, you might need to ensure that none of these are chosen over here. What do we mean by that? Because that disables everything. Macros are very sensitive. Okay, by default it might be set to disable. So let's go over here and insert the buttons. You will recall that we created 3 macros. If I list my macros here, adding the extra column, all right. Secondly, the conditional format, and thirdly, the table format. If they look slightly different to the last video, I'm sure you'll be able to join the dots. Right, there we go. So, in the developer ribbon, we go to insert over here and insert buttons. And here we go, first button. All right, perhaps it's a bit close. I'm going to say table format. That's the simplest macros. Okay, and click on OK, and in it goes. I'm going to move it slightly to the left there, to the right, and I'm going to click and drag over the text, or just click to the left, and you can delete the text and say format as table. That's good. All right, then we're going to put the second macro in, which is going to be the conditional formatting macro. Here's the conditional formatting macro. Conditional formatting, OK. And once again, click there and change the look. Conditional format. Okay. And then once again, the third one, this is the most advanced macro we did. We're going to insert it there. And this is important. We are going to put it here. Choose add extra column. Right, there we go. And if we click there, you'll see add extra cost column. It will format it automatically. You can make these buttons all the same size later by right-clicking, 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 and then you might want to go to shape format, align left, for example, and you might want to make them all the same size, which is going to be difficult because it doesn't have that button. That's, for example, I think Microsoft Access or PowerPoint has, but you can do this. It doesn't have the guiding lines either. Okay, maybe there's a quicker way of doing that. We don't know. All right, but there those 3 buttons are. So let's test those macros. One of the critical things is, of course, you've got to be active inside the table. So format as table, done. Okay, maybe the customer satisfaction score conditional format is done. Okay, let's scroll up again and then click up there, add extra cost column, done. Look, those macros now work beautifully by activating these buttons. You can also create an extra ribbon here with your macros. I like putting them in as buttons. Just remember the best practices. Keep them adrift of the table and the increased table. Format them later. Give clear instructions on the button. And of course, these macros are saved in this workbook, so they won't activate in other workbooks. That for a future lesson.